Let me officially kick this off. Thank you all for joining. This is Bailey with Central Florida Review. I am here with Derrick Dove, who has a couple of shows coming up in Florida. So we're so excited to have you. Derrick, thank you so much for making the time.
Oh, thank y'all for having us, man. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So all right. So when I pulled this up, I've got Derrick Dove and the Peacemakers and the members of the Peacemakers. I got JT, Walt, and Jamie. Were these the original guys? Or are these gentlemen still with you currently?
That's our current lineup.
Okay.
Um, Jamie and JT are OGs. They're the original
Okay.
guys.
Got it.
Walt has actually been with us now going on 3 years.
Okay.
So he's on our last record, Burn It Down. He's actually a childhood friend. We all grew up together. We've played in different bar bands and different things around. We just never had the opportunity to put our own band together. So when the opportunity arose, our original bass player was needing some time off, and his parents were getting older, and he had to go take care of them. And so we just called our buddy Walt. It was a smart fit, and man, we've been rocking ever since.
Okay. That sounds good. That you answered my question. So I was trying to Wikipedia you to figure out, approximate age. And from what I was gathering, you were basically born around 1980-ish. Um, and then 10 years later, you became a drummer. And then 2 years after that, a guitarist. Quick question. So did you take formal lessons on those instruments, or were you self-taught? How did that work?
So my dad, being a kind of a jack of all trades, he was a radio DJ and he was a singer, a harmonica player. He knew a few guitar chords and he could keep a beat on drums. So we always had those instruments laying around the house. Um, so my dad was kind of the catapult for a lot of that stuff. Like I'd get behind the drum set and just kind of be framming. He's like, "No, why don't you count this? You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, what you know." And he
Yeah.
just kind of get me started. But then I also took a couple of lessons from some local guys that
Okay.
actually played in his band. You know, they were over there for rehearsal anyway at the house, and so
Okay.
they would come over early and give me a 30-minute little tutorial on a couple of things, but nothing too formal though. I can't read music. I can't, even though I went to college for a little bit for
Mhm.
music, but it's one of those things that just, it never clicked with me.
Yeah.
So,
I your style. So I was listening to your style, and so I also play. I was in a band long ago, but the way that you play, I don't really know if that can be taught. So it's one of the, and not to get too cheesy on you, but I mean it's one of those where it's almost coming from your soul. Like I remember way back when Van Halen started, I guess Alex and Edward, they actually were training on each other's instruments,
right. Yeah.
and then they didn't take any formal lessons, and then they switched over, and then you see what both of them were able to do on their instruments, like, and so, and I hope you don't mind the comparison, but when I listened to you, I said this is the same thing. Like I don't care how much theory a person has, like you can't teach a person to play like this. Like the chords and the bending that you're doing on that fretboard, it's like yeah, he didn't get a lesson on that. is
Yeah.
that is that fair? I mean,
No, it's completely fair. I mean, I went to, like I said, there's a local agricultural college here that had a small music program. And I was like, I think I'll sign up for jazz band, just because,
okay,
I'm a blues guy and, I
right.
play oldies and country and different things. And I was like, well, I've never tried jazz, so I think that'd be cool. So, God, I used to get in trouble every day because he'd be like, "Oh, you're bending. Jazz guys don't bend. Stop bending. Play the notes written." I'm like, I can't read this. I don't know what I'm looking at here. Like so.
Wow.
Yes, so I was terrible at it, and so I actually quit college to go on the road playing full time. I had a buddy of mine call me and said, "Hey, we had an opening, and if you're ready to go, we're going to Wyoming next week." And I'm like, "I'm down. Let's go."
All
So,
right.
but yeah, just cutting teeth in every bar room around.
So that friend of yours and that band, and then I read also that you were in some high school, bands in high school. I mean,
Yeah.
were those specifically blues type bands, or were you still trying to figure your way out at that point? And just, I'm just gonna be the instrument guy on this one. Were you vocals
Yeah.
on that?
Yeah. So I've been the vocalist
Okay.
in all the high school bands. I had two high school bands. The first band I was actually hired just as a vocalist, and
Okay.
they found out I played guitar too, which was a plus. But we were, 14, 15 years old, playing in, little youth parties and different things around, and not really doing anything, didn't have a direction or anything. The first real band we put together, or I put together, was with some of the better high school players who had
Mhm.
reputations in high school, like this is the best drummer, this is the best bass player.
Yeah.
I was like, hey guys, do you want to come play with me? Like, um, and but the direction has always been blues based.
Okay.
Um, that's kind of always where my heart has been, whether it's, Hendrix style stuff, Stevie Ray style stuff, just kind of blues. It's always been blues rock, I guess. It's always had that edge to it.
Okay.
There was a short period where, it's like, all right, well, we got to learn a bunch of cover songs to make some money.
Well, okay, so that's my question. Like when you're starting out that young, I mean, are you putting, because there's going to be people that are going to see this and they're going to be like, oh, I'm an aspiring musician. I mean, what's my path here? Like for you, Derrick, I mean, though early on, was it the cover songs or were you putting your own stuff out there? What was the mix like? Was it more cover, more original?
Yeah, it was probably 99% cover stuff. We might
Okay.
have had one or two original songs that, hey,
Okay.
check this out, but the area where I grew up and I actually still live now is they support original stuff, but it's a lot easier to support cover bands. It's just a cover band area.
Mhm.
That's how you're going to get the gigs. That's how you're going to make money. And we were interested in all of it. So our thought process was, well, let's get as many gigs as we can, try to get as
Mhm.
many fans and followers as we can, and then we'll throw in a few original stuff here and there and try to get their attention. So that's kind of been the
Okay.
plan. But
Okay. No, I mean, it worked out for you.
yeah,
So, okay, so well, let's fast forward here. So then in 2010, 2009, you made your way to Nashville, and then a year later, you're like, this business side of it, maybe not my thing. You moved back home. So then the next thing I saw in you is that in 2018, you released basically a self-titled, your first album,
yeah.
right? So what happened between 2010 and 2018? Are you touring? Are you working? Are you focusing on the band? But hey, we're gonna just keep this on the down low, guys. We're not gonna put anything out there. What did those 8 years look like?
That was a very interesting 8 years.
Mhm.
Coming back home with my tail between my legs from
Okay.
Nashville is a thing, because you don't want to feel like a failure, and
Yeah.
you're always like, man, I could have tried harder, I could have done this, I could have done that, but I was still in a soul searching phase at that moment, coming out of some of the different touring bands I was in. So I went to Nashville probably a little prematurely.
Okay.
Um, Not really having a direction, not really knowing anybody up there, not having any connections, not any of that. So coming back home, and then me and my wife decided we wanted to start a family. So it's like, okay, I'd played some gigs around, just local cover stuff. I was picking up every acoustic show I could at restaurants, and to pay the bills, um, and then we had an opportunity to put the band together around 2010, 2011.
Mhm.
and we started jamming again. We started writing, and it kind of all just happened at the right time. In about 2016 is when we recorded it, and it took us a couple of years to get it together and get it ready and get it out. And it's our first big project that we're doing by ourselves. There's no label, there's no extra money, so it was kind of a process to kind of figure everything out and do it ourselves again, because times change. It feels like the music business changes every used to be every 5-10 years. Now it's like every 6 months. Um, but yeah, so it took us a little bit to figure everything out, and writing enough songs and getting enough gigs under our belt with this lineup, and to where we felt, okay, let's do this. Let's not do it prematurely. Let's sit back and think about it like adults, and let's really look at this as a business instead of just, we're just going to go play and have a good time. Like it really is a growing up process, when you're doing some of this stuff.
So you mentioned there the songwriting. Who's doing the songwriting in the group? Is it solely you? Is it you and like the other guys are helping out?
Yeah.
How's
So
that set up?
the first two albums were solely pretty much me.
Okay.
Um, I wrote the first two albums. Now I'll bring ideas in, and we'll hash them out. And, well, what if we change this chord here, a lyric here or there. The third album, with Walt added to the band,
Hmm.
he's got great ideas, and the other guys have great ideas too. Um, so the third album was really a collaboration of each other, and we actually are writing and recording ideas for our fourth album, and it's even more of a collaboration. It finally feels like we have our sound together. It takes a
Yeah.
little bit to kind of, okay, well, let's try this area, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this. And it's not, you know you're not going out there saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's, hey, I love this kind of music, I love this kind of music, this inspires me. Let's put it all into a pot, let's stir it up, and what comes out is us. And that's we're really proud of the new stuff we've been writing.
It's it's you can hear the progression within the music across the three albums that have already been released. So hopefully this doesn't come out the wrong way. So if I look at you, right, I'm seeing that you're married. I believe it's two daughters. Is it two daughters?
I have two daughters and one son. Yep.
Okay. So typically a fairly happy thing. And then 2026, right? I'm jumping ahead, right? You end up
Yeah, yeah.
winning the International Blues Challenge. Again, another positive in your life. So my question to you, you got all these positives. So what's going to motivate you at this point to write something bluesy? Like how do you stay right? I mean, is that a fair question? Like,
No, it is. It is. It is. I mean,
you're
it's
smiling. Like, how do you get yourself into blues mode? I mean, how does that work?
it's I guess it's kind of like writing a story. You don't have to see ghosts to write a ghost story.
Yeah.
It's just what you really enjoy. Blues and all that stuff has always been there for me emotionally. That's what I turn to. Um, so I have those previous life experiences that I pull from, and we all do. Even the happiest person can get the blues. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah, yeah.
anything can happen, at the drop of a hat. So we all go through these life experiences, and yeah, I'm pretty much a happy dude 95% of the time. But we all struggle with things. I think everybody does, and if I can pull from those experiences, like again, I love storytelling. So if I can see somebody else, if I can write a story about that person, or pull from different experiences, um, that's what I love to do. And if I can touch somebody emotionally, make them laugh, make them cry, not make them cry. That sounds terrible. But bring a tear to their eye. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah,
it's music is such an emotional thing for me. And I try to make it as personal as possible.
that's fair. So, Derrick, I want to be sensitive to time. I know you're a busy guy, so I'm going to wrap this up. But I do want to ask you this one parting question, right? For people that go to your shows, right? What's the message? How do you want them to feel when they walk away from your show?
I want them to feel like, man, you know what? I know that guy. That's just a personal connection is what I like to. I want people to go, that guy, that band is not putting on anything. They're authentic, they're real, they're just hardworking dudes and putting out good music. That's all I want.
Perfect. Derrick, I can't thank you enough, and I'm really excited. So, John, I'm going to talk to you about this later, but I might be able to catch another show, not the Coco show, but another one if that's all right. But I'll talk to you about that later. But everybody, please come check out Mr. Derrick Dove and the Peacemakers. Derrick, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, and all the best to you. Congratulations on your recent awardings.
Thank you
All
so
the
much,
best.
man. Thank you.
All right. Y'all take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Peace.